Hello and welcome to your daily dose of Satoshi's news. Today's date is Tuesday, the 1st of July 2025, the year BSV comes alive. Branch your threads, expand your mind with treechat.ai, all your posts put on chain. Right, let's see what we've got today. This is why I had to do a show even at this late on. This is what we have been waiting for. Checking out BSV Association says, one of four posts, Teranode update. We see the strong interest in the project and appreciate your continued engagement. News from our tech team below. We'll go into that. Ziggy Orkaston says we've started the release of Teranode today, and maybe most informatively the documentation. This describes all of Teranode in detail. Enjoy. Oh, come on. And he also said the first Teranode code package has been released. This is what the world has been waiting for. Brett Banafy says, let's effing go. Come on. Got posts here from CS Tominaga. That's CSW, obviously. Robert Kiyosaki said he bought another Greg coin today. Well done, mate. BitCrash pointing out how literally like the central banks have hijacked Greg coin. CoinGeek going on about put it on chain. If you think fake news is bad, you're going to be sick when you really start to dig into history and how much they have lied to us. So at least people are starting to realize what we need to know now. We've got some 365 days of Bitcoin history, and then that'll be the end of the show. Right, let's get into it.
Satoshi, like a cowboy in the West, riding on the blockchain that they call the very best. 1 million strong and transactions flying free. Just wait for the Teranode, you'll surely see.
Here we go, here we go. This is what we have been waiting for. BSV Association, and this is at 5:33 p.m. today, literally just earlier this afternoon. They said, Teranode update, we see the strong interest in the project and appreciate your continued engagement. News from our tech team below. Here we go. 2 of 4. We've heard the feedback and we agree. Communication must improve. Teranode is a complex build, and while delays happen, transparency is paramount. Raising the bar on updates is not just a goal, it's a standard we're holding ourselves to. Well, there's a tricky one there because we've got the deep state, literally all eyes on this. So it's just like, they're trying to be transparent, but you don't want to give any intellectual secrets or intellectual sort of property away, trade secrets and all that, because literally the deep state are going to be all over this thing, literally all over it. And I don't think people actually appreciate just how much they're going to be over it and how much they're going to try and sabotage it. So I would say just be careful, and everyone else needs to be understanding. We've been waiting for this, and the fate of our species rests on the release of this. So we'll have to see how it goes. 3 of 4, they said, here's what we can share. Teranode is in its final stages of development. Come on, come on. There are 24 tickets on our project board that our team are working hard to complete. We've begun releasing open source code components on our new GitHub with more on the way. These drops are part of a bigger shift, a clearer, more open path to real scalable infrastructure. And the last one, 4 of 4. Teranode represents a major step forward, and we look forward to sharing more as the key milestones are achieved. What's next? Read the Teranode documentation and how it works. See our next post to access Teranode code packages. See X for news, updates, and answers to your questions. This is absolutely massive. Absolutely massive. I'm chuffed to bits, and it's the 1st of July. So This is going to have to go into 365 days of Bitcoin history. Another big one. Teranode, the first bit being released today. Ziggy Orkaston commented on this just after it was released. So the first one was 5:33, and at 5:35, Ziggy posted, we've started the release of Teranode today, and maybe most informatively the documentation. This describes all of Teranode in detail. Enjoy. Kudos to Mort for finding the docs before the announcement. Wow. And he also said here it's a 626 first Teranode code packages have been released. Wow. Just wow. And that was in response to the BSV Association, to saying to access Teranode code packages, see our GitHub. Currently available, go safe conversion, safely convert from one type of integer to another with error handling. Go lock-free queue. Lock-free queue that is used to queue up transactions in the block assembly of Teranode. Go change CFG provides network parameters and Genesis block definitions for BSV blockchain and related networks, including the Teranode network. Go wire BSV blockchain wired protocol. Go TX map, a map utility package used in various processing steps in Teranode. And Go subtree, the subtree implementation used in Teranode. We are releasing new components as they're ready and invite you to contribute, test and build. See Teranode update for the latest details on the project. Wow, honestly, you have no idea how much of a relief this is for me. Like, gee, but I've been waiting, 7 years for this? 7 years. Trying to keep everybody's spirits and hopes up, because we all knew what was going to happen in 2020, and I think the original plan would have been an absolute disaster for humanity. But here we are on the 1st of July 2025. As I said, the year BSV comes alive, and this is Teranode, people. I am chuffed to bits. You've no idea. So come on, team, you can do it. You can do it. Like, we are all behind you on this. All of us, literally. On this journey together. And congratulations, Craig, and finally having your vision come to fruition of literally a scalable blockchain for the entire world to use that can literally absorb the entire traffic of the World Wide Web. Like, whoa, this is huge. So anyway, let's see what CSW said. This is a post from yesterday. So he's talking about law here. When law becomes unmoored from justice, it ceases to be law in any moral sense. Well, when law becomes unmoored from justice, it actually becomes... I've forgotten the word now. Begins with P. I'll think of it in a minute. Oh my goodness me. Just trying to think when you're trying to think of a word in the moment. And it can't come to you. The word means repugnant. I knew I had a P in there. Repugnant. When laws are repugnant to the Constitution, they're null and void. That's it. Especially particularly to common law. So that's what he's talking about there. They cease to be law in any moral sense. It becomes a mere enactment, machinery without consciousness. The very apparatus designed to uphold liberty mutes into an engine of control. Once the rule of law is weaponized to serve interests instead of restrain them, it no longer distinguishes between theft and taxation, fraud and regulation, coercion and order. It becomes a bastion warned, a cloak for plunder. A bastion warned, a cloak for plunder. In such a society, the criminal need not break the law, he need only write it. Yeah, that's exactly what's going on today. The state begins to punish not based on harm but on defiance. It protects not virtue but hierarchy. Its sanctions do not flow from righteousness but from policy. You are not governed by reason but administered by procedure. A procedure devoid of virtue serves whoever commands it. The perversion is complete when obedience to injustice is praised as civic duty, and resistance to tyranny is prosecuted as criminality. Then the law becomes not the guardian of liberty, but its jailer. He knows it. He's been the subject of this. In that moment, silence is complicity. To speak is not rebellion; it is responsibility. To act is not treason; it is obligation. The measure of a just society is not how faithfully its people obey, but how courageously they resist when obedience becomes betrayal. Wow, that is deep. That is deep, and that is absolutely spot on. That is absolutely spot on. Give that a like. Wow, gonna save that one. That is brilliant. That is brilliant. All right, let's see what else he says here. The problem with any so-called universal system, whether it's Kant's categorical imperative, Molyneux's UBP, or whatever's latest abstraction someone's polished up and called a law of reason, It is that they all start by lying, not always deliberately, not always maliciously, but with the same smug presumption that everyone values the same thing, that there's some eternal moral spine running through the very culture, every person, every time, that we're all playing the same game, on the same field, with the same stakes. It's quaint. But people aren't universals. They're snarled contradictions of want and necessity. One man's virtue is another man's vice. One woman's justice is another's blood feud. You can't universalize ethics any more than you can universalize taste. The second you try, you're already assuming agreement, already patching over the cracks in reality with some neat linguistic gaze that looks good until it's touched. So the structure always folds inward, elegant, airtight and utterly dead, built on the fantasy that people want the same thing, fear the same thing and will make the same trade-offs. They won't, they never have. Systems like that don't expand the world, they erase it. And that is what's going on today. He knows it. Honestly, I am so chuffed to bits that we have got a polymath, a philosopher, a genius like CSW recognizing all of this. There aren't many people in the world that could actually do much about it, but we know we know a man who can. Whoa, that is epic. He's also said here, this was on the 19th of June, he said an announcement, Chapter 3 of Transactions, Legal Instruments in a Competitive Ledger, part of the serialized release of analyzing the Bitcoin white paper, section by section, will be published on Ream this 21st of June and released automatically. Reamstories.com. How did I miss this? Good grief, there's so much stuff going on. I've not actually heard of Ream Stories before. Here we go. The Ledger of Truth. Bitcoin as Law, Ledger and Machine. Chapter 1. A System of Value, not Ideology. Parsing the title and abstract. Chapter 1. The Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Oh, what? Oh, here we go. This opening chapter functions as a deep excavation, both linguistic and structural, of the Bitcoin white papers, title and abstract. The intention is not to summarize, but to detonate, to pull apart each word, each clause, and each economic, legal, and philosophical implication, code into the introductory text. It must set the ideological tone for the book. Ruthless, analytical, unapologetically precise, revealing not what the masses believe Bitcoin to be, but what it was designed to be. No deference will be given to the myth, and no quarter granted to those who have molested the protocol through half-understood rewrites. The system described in the title is not peer-to-peer in the anarchic sense, nor is it electronic cash in the shallow sense of anonymity or detachment from the legal system. This is a machine of law, cryptographically constrained and economically enforced. Amazing. But I mean, it still baffles me. Well, I mean, maybe he's hiding it, but I mean, the protocol, just there's 5 elements that commoditize the network. I mean, they haven't really been explained to those who I actually think really need to know it. I mean, that is epic. That is epic. What a fantastic article there is. I'll read that later. 14 minutes gone. Let's have a look at Robert Kiyosaki. This is hilarious. Thanks to those people who pointed this out to me. He said, bought another, that's Gregcoin today. I realised I could be wrong and a sucker. Would not be the first time in my life I was played for a fool. Oh, so he's already starting to realise he's been played for a fool by buying this piece of shit. Dear oh dear. He said, yeah, I believe Gregcoin will one day soon be $1 million. He's been listening to Michael Saylor. Oh dear. If I am a sucker, I'd rather be a sucker than a loser if Gregcoin does go to $1 million. Nobody likes being suckers or losers, yet that's what makes life exciting. Think for yourself. Do not listen to my ramblings. Mate, you should be thinking for yourself and not listening to Michael Saylor's ramblings. That's what should really be going on, mate. Take your own advice. I can afford to lose 100k. Oh, maybe that's why you haven't thought about it. because I've been a sucker and a loser many times in my life and learnt from my losses. That's life. That's called wisdom and experience, where you still haven't learned yet, which can be priceless. Take care, mate. How can you not see this? You utter fool. You utter fool. Never mind. He's going to learn the hard way. He isn't thinking, what am I buying here? What is it? All he's thinking is, I can afford to lose 100k. That's it. That's literally all he's thought. Yeah, there is no deep thinking gone into this at all. Can I afford to lose it? Oh, it's just a risk. He's gambling. Mate, if you're gambling, you should not be gambling with something that has got an economic fundamental basis. If you don't think that Bitcoin has got an economic fundamental basis, you shouldn't be buying it, because you're being suckered into a Ponzi scheme. What use case does it have? Because if it's useful, it's valuable. If it's useless, it's worthless. It's really simple, mate. You can come on my show and I'll explain it. I'm sure we'll meet one day, funnily enough. When you realise what Teranode is. Beat Crash has said here, twisted reality. Banks will hold your BTC with a fee. This is not what Bitcoin was meant to be. BTC Max is psyoped you incrementally back into the banking system that effed you in the first place. And that was in response to this Peter Rizzo, whatever his name is. I said, breaking German banking giant Deutsche Bank to launch a Bitcoin custody service. Banks are embracing BTC. Oh my goodness me. Oh dear, oh dear. Let's see, 16 minutes gone. Put it on chain, CoinGeek said here. If you think fake news is bad, you're going to be sick when you really start to dig into history. Let's start with a story most people know about. Until the last decade or so, Richard Nixon was the most controversial president in modern American history due to the Watergate scandal and everything surrounding it. But what if everything we thought we knew about Watergate was wrong? Richard Nixon, despite being re-elected in one of the largest landslides in the US history, was swiftly dismantled, but not for crimes of war or corruption. Instead, he was taken down for a third-rate burglary he may not have even known about. Is it possible that the real scandal wasn't what Nixon did, but who wanted him gone? Bob Woodward, one half of the duo credited with exposing the affair, was a former naval intelligence officer with curious access and connections, including ties to the Pentagon and possibly the Central Intelligence Agency. No way. Some researchers have suggested that he may have been more than just a reporter with the nose for news. And what of the whispers that elements of the CIA or other federal agencies had motivations to oust Nixon? Yeah, could have just set him up. Whose independence and moves towards détente may have threatened deep state interests. Nixon stated more than once in his recordings that he assumed Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI Deputy Director, Director Mark Felt, was working to oust him. For example, oh wow. So Illuminati Boy said Tucker Carlson explains how the FBI and CIA conducted a coup to take out President Nixon with help from the journalist Bob Woodward. Journalist Bob Woodward. Richard Nixon was taken out by the FBI and CIA with help of Bob Woodward. Woodward was the guy and who was the main source of... Oh, wow. Oh. Let's see this. Where do we get to? Woodward was that guy who is his and who is his main source for Watergate? Oh, the number two guy at the FBI. Oh, so you'd have the naval intelligence officer working with the FBI official to destroy the president. Okay, so that's a deep state coup. Richard Nixon was elected by more votes than any president in the American history in 1972 election, the most popular president in his re-election campaign, and 2 years later he's gone, undone by a naval intel officer, the number two guy at the FBI, and a bunch of CIA employees. You tell me what that is. Those are the facts. Those are not disputed facts. Wow, that is huge. I mean, it's all coming out now. It is all coming out now. Whoa. when you line this up against decades of genuinely criminal activity and that Washington is quietly buried, you have to ask, was Nixon's fall a morality play, or was it a meticulously engineered takedown of an inconvenient maverick? It looks like it. We may never know. And again, I mean, he was employed to be in that position. Yeah, we've seen the adverts that they put out. You know, it was outrageous, and you know, I think it was despicable individual wanted to do despicable things. You know, to be elected, and he was the one that replied to the advert. Outrageous. So I will recount a history with quite a bit less at stake, and one that I've dug into recently due to the work of legendary jiu-jitsu competitor Robert Drysdale, who has spent the last 5 years digging up the buried history of the Brazilian jiu-jitsu, which he published in his book Opening Closed Guard, The Origins of Jiu-Jitsu in Brazil. Oh wow, here we go. Very good. If you've ever trained, yeah. Haven't really got time to read all of this. So this is clearly a great article here from Kurt Wottek Jr. This is epic. Oh wow. I haven't got time to read through all that. 20 minutes gone already, but yeah, Kurt is awake. He is awake, and that is really good. Really good. Right, some 365 days of Bitcoin history. Between the 1st and the 22nd of July 1944 was when the Bretton Woods Conference meeting at the Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, during World War II to make the final arrangements for the post-war world after the expected defeat of Germany and Japan. Whoa, that is epic. There we go, look at that. Inject on. The Bretton Woods Conference. There we go. Whoa, that was big. And look at that coincides with the release of Teranode. Taking it back, come on. And also 1st of July 1971 was when Memorandum FCO 34/1048 was published and hidden from the British public for 30 years. Here we go, and this is where it says here, look at this. I realise that we do not want to falsify the sovereignty issue or give our future community partners the idea that we are frightened to commit ourselves in this respect. But you will also be aware of the conservative group for, I think that's Coropes, or maybe that must be Europe's, wish to play down, maybe that's meant to be Europe, play down this issue as far as possible and reassure those people in Parliament and in the country who get emotional about loss of sovereignty. That is high treason. That is high treason, and that was dated here 29th of April 1971. So this is when they corrupted the legal system and the political system. And again, Nixon shock, 15th of August 1971. They corrupted the financial system. It all happened in 1971. And this is when Memorandum FCO 34/1048 was published and then buried for 30 years, which triggered the section 60, I think it was 61 of the 61 of the 1215 Magna Carta, when the monarch is seen to be have committed high treason. That section of the Magna Carta can be triggered. Right? I think it was like 25 barons petitioned the Queen. Realizing that high treason had been committed. Absolutely massive. And again, so published on the 1st of July, that is huge. And again, on the Teranode anniversary, bring it on. So on slightly lesser notes, on the 1st of July 2015, 2 federal agents plead guilty to Silk Road theft. Former federal agents Carl Forst from the DA and Sean Bridges of the Secret Service pleaded guilty to stealing bitcoins, that's Gridcoin, for their personal gain during their active investigations of the Silk Road marketplace. Force was charged with extorting Ulbricht as well as wire fraud, theft of government property, money laundering and conflict of interest in his role in siphoning off $50,000 worth of Gridcoin from the Silk Road into his own personal accounts. Bridges is charged with money laundering and obstruction of justice for stealing $820,000 worth of Gridcoin in a similar manner. Force agreed to pay $500,000 in restitution and was later sentenced to 6 years in prison in October 2015. Bridges is awaiting sentence in December 2015. Well, that was big. And look at this scumbag. On the 1st of July 2021 was the launch of Million Token by TechLead. I think everybody remembers that. Oh my god, like what a massive pump and dump that was. I wonder if they've still got it listed here. Look at that all. Look at that. If that wasn't one of the biggest pump and dumps ever. Like ever. Look at that. Look at the state of that. Absolutely hilarious. Oh my goodness. We started at nothing. It went up to $252. Whoa. And then crashed straight back down. Oh my goodness. So there we go. That's 365 days of Bitcoin history, and that's the end of the show. Hope you enjoyed it. So as ever, if you enjoy these updates, please ding all donations for your appreciation to either Satoshi@Semba.com, Handcash.io, RockWallet.me, Simply.cash, Relasia.com, or Senti.ch. We'll leave it there. Hope you enjoyed it, and as ever, be aware, take care, stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one.
2 years ago, you got SegWit, which we lied and cheated and stealed, and I was part of the lying and cheating and stealing to get SegWit, to get Lightning, which, by the way, had critical vulnerabilities and lost people's money.
The king still has one more move.
Remember, Bitcoin is BSV. Everything else is BS.